Hello, so we're going to start Chapter 8, which is entitled Recording, Adjusting, and Closing Entries for a Service Business. If you take a look in Edmodo, I have posted all of the Chapter 8 notes and all 3 PowerPoints in here as well. So if you get stuck, you can go back and look at the notes, you can look at the PowerPoints, and watch this recording as many times as you'd like. Alright, so for the recording of the adjustments, which is the Section 8.1, we learned in Chapter 7 how to do our worksheet and create our income statement and balance sheet and so forth. And now what we're going to be doing is basically just taking the information from our adjustment column on our worksheet and recording it into a general ledger. So if you take a look at the notes right here, it shows the worksheet section here for our first adjustment, which is the supplies and the supplies expense. Remember, what we do is we record in our adjustment column the amount of supplies we used throughout this period, and we debit it as a supplies expense, and we credit these supplies. So now we're just going to take that information and basically put it into, or record it into, our general journal. So we're going to start with our account title. We're going to call it Adjusting Entries. And remember, we always journalize our debit first and then our credit account. So we just take this information, the debit is our supplies expense, and we write the date, supplies expense, and the amount debited, and our credit is our supplies, so we do the same thing for the supplies, we just record it in the credit amount. Okay, so let's give this a try. This is our Work Together 8-1, and here's the instructions. It says that we partial worksheet for Darlene's delivery service for the month ended July 31st of the current year is given below. Also given are the general ledger and general journal and general ledger accounts. The general ledger accounts do not show the details of the fiscal period. The balance shown in each account is the account's balance before the adjusting entries are posted. So let's go through this particular recording of the adjusting entries. Again, we're only looking at the adjustment column. We have done the adjustment for supplies, which is letter A. Again, supplies is the credit amount, the amount we used, and we debit supplies expense for that same amount. And then we also look at the prepaid insurance, which is letter B. Again, this is how much insurance we used for this period, and we record it as a debit to the insurance expense and a credit to the prepaid insurance. So down here, we're going to do our 8.1 together. Again, we start with the title, so this is centered in the middle of the page. This is the adjusting entries. So we just start typing it in. Our date is July 31st. Oops. And again, we always record the debit first, so we're going to record supplies expense. And the amount was $713. And our credit was supplies for the same amount, $713. Okay, sorry. Again, the amounts and so forth we're getting right here. So now the second entry is for the prepaid insurance. The amount was $300. Same date. Sorry. Can't get this, my computer is not cooperating. Okay, once we have our adjusting entries journalized, we then have to post, which I know is not one of your favorite things always to do, but it's very simple. So we're going to go line by line, straight across. we're going to go start with supplies expense. So we're going to go down here and look for supplies expense. We're just going to post this down here. So again, we are in July. And our post reference is General Journal page 4, so G4. It is a debit for 713, so we bring down the 713. And we know that any expense account has a normal debit balance, so we just carry that over to the debit balance. And then we show that we recorded it by taking the 540 and plugging it in right here. We'll do the same thing for supplies. Okay, there's already a balance that was carried over, so now we are going to record this adjusting entry. So it's still the 31st. G4 is our post reference. This is a credit for 713, so we're going to bring our 713 down. And we know that the normal balance for all assets is debit. We have a debit balance here, and we have a credit amount here. So when we have one debit and one credit, we have to subtract. So if we take 963, subtract 713, we are left with a balance of 250. And then we take this 140 and we plug it in to show we posted. Next is insurance expense. Again, same routine here. We have a debit of 300, so we're carrying the 300 down. All expenses have a debit balance. Bring the 520 up here to show we posted. And the last one, prepaid. Again, we already have a balance that's showing here, so we're just going to post this one, the 31st. G4. We have a credit of 300. Prepaid insurance we know is an asset. It has a normal debit balance, so we're going to take the 1200 debit, subtract the credit, and we're left with a balance of 900. Take the 150 and plug it in, and then hit your save and continue at the bottom, and you are finished with 8-1 work together.